So on today's video, we are going to talk about how to use a tire plug strip to fix this little baby right here. I was driving last night to the store and for some reason decided to look around the vehicle, and I noticed there was something green on one of the tires. As I got closer and looked at it, I realized that the freaking tire had been punctured by something. Seems like a shingle nail or something. So I was a little concerned because I was a little bit far from the house, and I was just hoping I was not going to get a flat tire. Luckily, there is this little kit that's available at your local store. It's called a tire plug kit that can help you resolve this issue. So I was able to make it to that store, and then I finally made it home last night, and the tire was still good to go, so I was very fortunate about that. But I need to fix this. So here I'm going to show you how to do this. And I also want to tell you something. I saw a couple of videos on how to do it. They sure made it seem like it was an easy thing. But I'm telling you, this took me about an hour and 30 minutes because that freaking nail was very difficult to pull out, as you can see here on this video. It was a very thin one, and it had a screw type thread on it, so you can just pull it out. You have to sort of unscrew it out. And I was having a very difficult time doing this, as you can see. Well, so we took care of that little by little. We were able to figure it out. My wife was luckily helping me. It's always better to have another person to help you think through this process. But just to tell you that it's just not as easy as it looks. It took a little bit of effort. So we continued to work on this, and finally it came out. As soon as it came out, you could hear the hissing. This is the repair kit that we use. Very simple, not very expensive. I think it was about $7 something, so it's not very expensive. And the first tool we'll use is the pointy one to open the hole big enough so that we can use the second tool. Here you can see the little nail that came out. As you can see, it was pretty thin. So now the issue that I'm going to have is I have to make this hole on the tire big enough so that I can fit the repair material inside the tire. And I'm telling you, it was not easy. It was very difficult. The tire is very tough. And the tool, of course, that I'm using is probably one of the cheapest ones. So, you're going to have to use a lot of elbow grease to get this done. It was very difficult. And initially, we just couldn't figure out how to do it. So I struggled quite a bit doing this and used a lot of elbow grease, and it was still not enough. So we just kept on going at it until we came up with a better idea. And here we have the better half of the team helping out because I just was in a lot of pain. It took a lot of hard work. My hand was on fire. After continued effort, then the better half of the team came up with this great idea. Why don't we use a screw? The goal here was to make the hole bigger, big enough to get the tool inside. Once we were able to make the hole bigger, then it still took a lot of effort, but I was able to get the first tool inside so that we could make the hole big enough for the second portion of this endeavor. But again, it was just not that easy. It took quite a bit of effort. Those tires are pretty damn tough. I would have taken the tire off and just exchanged it, but the tire is actually pretty new. As you can see by the threading, I just didn't want to go and buy another tire, so that's the reason I decided to go through this effort. I just didn't want to replace it because I think you could still get something out of this tire. So anyway, as you can see, we're making progress, and we're finally going to make the hole big enough to use the second part of the kit. So once we got the first tool all the way across, we were ready to continue with the second part of the kit. And here I am trying to get this thing out. It's a very sticky patch, but so it's a little difficult sometimes to get it off. And it just so happens that the day we decided to do this, it was actually 43 degrees outside. So it was pretty cold. Once you get the strips out, you simply put it in there. As you'll see here, just get it in there, and it'll probably be a good idea to have a set of pliers just to pull this thing through, and then you'll be able and ready to insert this portion into the tire. So here it appears that I was ready to go for the second portion, but, and there's always a big but, the hole apparently was not big enough, so I couldn't get the freaking tool to go across. I had to put the first tool out so we can stop the air from going out, and have to come up with a better option on how to get the strip inside. Here is a second try and no success. By this time my shoulder, my hand, my arm were pretty worn out. But I needed to figure something out because it had to be fixed. I was finally able to get the strip just barely in to stop the air from coming out, but I couldn't get the rest of the strip inside. It was just way too hard. Again, we needed to come up with a better option. So then decided to use a wrench. Luckily the handle was able to fit in it, and kind of twist it inside the best way I could and just push like hell trying to get this freaking strip inside. I was able to finally finagle it in, but it took a lot of elbow grease. Finally, after a pretty serious bit of time, we were able to finagle it in there deep enough to where it needed to be so we could finally close it out. If you see a little bit of shiny material on the tire, we used a little bit of dishwashing soap just to kind of lubricate the area a little, and it actually helped a little bit. So I was able to get it in, and as you can see now I'm pulling the tool out and the material stayed in. You're supposed to leave just a little bit of the tips outside, maybe just a little bit of less than a 1/4 inch, and the majority of the material is out now. Now we just take a little knife or something and cut the excess, and we should be pretty good to go. Now by this time the tire had already gone flat, no issue here. We're just going to put some air in it and see if it works. Here I'm checking to see, once I cut the little excess off, put a little more dishwashing soap to see if I saw any bubbles, and luckily it seems to be plugged. But we're about to find out. So we're checking as we're putting some air in the tire, and so far so good. no issues. So once we filled the tire, we took it for a spin just around the block and came back, and luckily everything is just fine. So there we have it. That's how you repair the tire. It was definitely not easy. This is the kit we use. It's useful, but it's difficult to do. So that's it, folks. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Take care, guys.